So this is really important. You explore, the exploration part of this, it's essential. Then if you want to make like the details, don't think about making the details of the shape, but thinking about how we are creating smaller planes. When you think about everything about this area, let's say, it's not making a detail, it's going to smaller planes. What makes the difference? It's not just it's not about her belly button, it's about those planes that create that belly button, right? So you feel like there's this one and this one, and maybe this one and this one, and this intersection between those creates the belly button. And the same with every detail. How you create the details is something that kills a lot of drawings. You see them like at certain point like really full of life, and when you start to make details, you kill them. And it's really normal that it happens, because we tend to think that the more detail we go, the better the drawing, but it's just the better the structure, the better the drawing. So it's always about that. And then we go like to the like almost like the final details on top. And these are just planes, thinking of that structure and those planes. How do you manage, those? It's really important. So this is like to think about how we put those cubes on shapes on the space. So it's really important to think about rhythm. This concept of rhythm, you can think about it like a song. If I talk always like this and I don't change my voice, it sounds like a robot and it's really annoying.
Yeah, boring.
And it's terrible because we need rhythm. So, and it's the same with music, with everything. And visually, it's really important. So we make one line, we should do the other one different and the other one different. So we make subconsciously, we will think about this shape, like we see in a snail, in the universe, and everything. It's like this shape, like even philosophically, it's even like our own lives, because we're almost like living almost the same, but we're in an expansion all the time. So we might think and believe we're in the same place, but it's not. It's going in a broader way. So think about this thing about the universe. If you watch the Milky Way, how beautiful these shapes of the Milky Way are. Think about how those, we repeat the snail thing in the universe. And it's in our hands, it's in our bodies, it's everywhere. So it's really important to educate our eyes and even our hand to work with these shapes, when we think about Jupiter, or see how all these beautiful shapes show how the universe moves. So it's like it's inner to everything in nature, into ourselves, into if we see like an orange, that it's like we forgot this orange in our fridge for 3 weeks, we'll see the same thing. It's almost and the other thing that's really important is to think how this concept will help us to understand things in the human anatomy. And the zigzag lines, will help us a lot. So if you see this body shape, we're not making lines that are equally and straight. No, it's always like a zigzag, working. So if you see this side and this side and this side and this side and this, you see how it's not at the same height, anything. So, or this, and this, you see how everything, and nothing repeats itself. This is bigger, this is a bit smaller, and this is a bit smaller, this is a bit smaller, and this is a bit smaller. So you never repeat the same size. And it's interesting because when you start to feel in these terms, you don't even have to think about it. It happens, you got to educate your eye and your hand and the way you feel the images. So it'll become like a second nature, because it'll be insanely full of information if we think about it in just one sit. If we got to think about this and muscles and proportions, our heads will explode. So that's why I think meditation is really important, because it sends all this information into our subconscious. And this subconscious part is the one that in the end, it's the one that it's growing, making the most of what we do when we draw. So we're like installing software every time we're drawing. So we might have like a version, of our software, but when we are developing new techniques and new ways of seeing, we're getting to the 1.1 version of the same software. And we don't have to think about this anymore. And the same thing happens over and over again. So another thing that it's really important to think about in terms of the sign, it's the functionality, and to think a very simple rule that's really beautiful and helps a lot is always use one side that is simple in terms of information and a complex one in terms of information. So I always do like this example of a head, the same thing with a hand. So you have like this very simple shape, and the other one is full of information. Always try to use this concept to understand shapes and lecture in a better way. Like if there's a, I don't know, a bear sleeping on the ground or something. Always think about that. A straight, very simple line accompanied by a detailed one. The other thing is never the universe works like this snail, this Milky Way thing. So never, if you see this, there's never two lines, two parallel lines. So if this one is here, the other one is a little bit broader than this one and this one and this one, and it always be same. So never use parallel lines, you know, always try to think and feel the dimension of those things, you know. So never do symmetrical or parallel lines. And I was talking about this shape, you know, so we understand our shapes better. So if we do this thing, we should keep the lecture of our image.